What's up, y'all? It's your girl Sandy Best Life Jones. Happy New Year. I hadn't planned on going live until my first episode of Girl Talk Sunday of the new year, but I had an interesting event happen today, and I wanted to go live about it because I think that people need to know it's okay to advocate for your own health, even with your doctor. As a matter of fact, it's a must. And there's a way that, as with anything, there's a way to do that as respectfully as you can. But sometimes you have to let somebody know what it is. And that's what happened with me today. So I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to come on in the room because I want to share the experience that I had today when I went in for my annual checkup. It's what I do every January, beginning of the year. I go in for my annual. I schedule all of my tests and whatever referrals I like my doctor to put in for me. I ask him to do that. So today was no different. It's what I do every January. January is my annual checkup, and my mammogram is every April, which is my birthday month, so I don't forget. So I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to come in and join me so I can share my experience and how I handled things and what you can do if you find yourself in a situation where you are asking for one kind of treatment and your doctor doesn't agree with what you're asking for and they just flat out refuse to do it even though it's within their ability to do it. They just don't think you need it. And so they just don't they tell you that you don't need it and they're not going to do it. So I'm going to tell the whole story. I'm just waiting for a couple people to come in. Matter of fact, let me share the live on my page so people know that I'm live. It was a very interesting day today. It was my last outing that I had today, and it was very interesting. So come on in, y'all. I see y'all coming in. Put a one in the chat if you can see me and hear me. Let me turn this up just a little bit. There we go. All right. Yes, y'all come on in here so I can tell you the whole full story. It was a trip, but it was a teachable moment too. So, like I was saying, I went to the doctor today and had my annual. Went in for my annual checkup. And when I say checkup, I just mean, scheduling my blood work that I need to get done that I have done twice a year. And any other tests that I feel like I need, or, I normally I just consult with my doctor and we have a conversation and then we decide what we're going to do. But today was a little bit different. And I had been doing some research before I went to the doctor and decided that I want, and not just from research, but also from a recommendation from my friend Dr. Glenda Shepard. I decided that I wanted to have a DEXA scan so that I could take a look at my bone density numbers. I've never had a DEXA scan, and my doctor friend, she's actually a nurse who has a doctorate in nursing, and she suggested that I have one. So that was the first thing on my list. And then, of course, my mammogram. And I schedule it in January because sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get in. And by April, my birthday month, I'm usually able to get in. So I wanted a DEXA scan. I wanted a mammogram. I've been having some issues with dizzy spells. And so I wanted to have my hormone levels checked because in my research I discovered that some postmenopausal women have issues with dizzy spells because their estrogen levels are dropping. And so I wanted to have some blood work done to take a look at my estrogen levels. And I also wanted to have my cholesterol check like I do every year, my A1C, my kidney function, all the stuff that I do every year. I really thought this was going to be a routine doctor's appointment. Now, I've had issues with this doctor before. I've had this doctor for about 4 years, maybe five. and his bedside manner is not the best. Um, and so I have been thinking about switching doctors anyway because he was starting to rub me the wrong way. And so I was already thinking that I wanted to change doctors. And I talked to my daughter about it. And she was like, Mom, get rid of him. You've been talking about this man for about 5 years. And clearly, the two of you just don't click. So you just need to get another doctor. So when I got to my appointment and I was checking in, I asked the front desk person, can I switch doctors through you or do I have to do it a different way? She was like, oh, yeah, when you finish your appointment, come on back. And then if you still feel like you want to switch doctors, then we'll go in there and we'll switch doctors for you. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So I go in the room and it's the medical assistant and she's taking my blood pressure. And because of the dizzy spells that I've been having, she said, we're going to do your blood pressure three different ways. We're going to do it with you laying down, and then we're going to do it twice with you standing up. So we can try to see if it changes from when you're laying down and when you're standing up. And of course, while I was laying down, it was perfectly normal. As soon as I stood up, not only did my blood pressure increase, but my pulse jumped. And so I'm thinking in my mind, I got quite a bit of weight I need to lose, even though I've lost quite a bit too, 32 pounds since September, as a matter of fact, but I've got a little bit more I need to lose. And so I'm thinking maybe it's just, I'm heavy. And when I stand up, my blood pressure goes up. I have had chronically high blood pressure for a few years. I'm working really hard to bring it down. I'm exercising now. I'm eating a healthy meat based diet that is high in protein and low, almost no carbs or sugar. So that's why I've been able to release so much weight in a short amount of time. So in my mind, I'm not a doctor. I'm just thinking, my blood pressure was elevated when I stood up because of my weight. So she recorded all three numbers, and then I waited a few minutes, and the doctor comes in. He greets me with hello, like he always does. I say hello. Um, Now, mind you, since the last time I saw him, which was in October, I've lost 32 pounds. And he didn't mention that, didn't acknowledge that. He just, went into the system, looked at my blood pressure numbers, and he said, I think these dizzy spells are just from your blood pressure because you have hypertension. So you're just going to have to start standing up slowly so you don't get so dizzy. Lay down slowly, change positions so the room doesn't feel like it's spinning when you're laying down. Now, like I said, I'm not a doctor, but this this advice just sounded off to me like just stand up slower, switch positions while you're laying down so your room don't spin. Is that what we doing? It just didn't sound right to me. So I'm just thinking in my mind, I said, well, could it be because my estrogen levels are dropping? I am postmenopausal. I'll be 57 this year. So could that be affecting me? Could that be the cause of the dizzy spells? No, it's not your hormones. You just need to start standing up slower. I'm pretty sure that's not a medical term or diagnosis. You're standing up too fast. I'm just saying, it just didn't sound like he put much thought into what it could be. I was waiting for him to suggest the blood test that can check my hormone levels, but he never did. So I suggested it myself. I said, you know what? I like to have my hormone levels tested so we can see what they are. I've never had them tested. Um, I became postmenopausal, back in 2019 when I had surgery. And so I would like to see what they are. You don't need that. Now, mind you, he didn't turn and look at me and say that. He was doing something in the computer and just flippantly says, you don't need that. So I said, I may not need it in your eyes, but I would like it. So can you go ahead and order it for me? And while you're at it, and this is how I was talking. I was sitting down. I had my hands in my lap. I had my feet crossed at the ankles because that is how I sit. It helps me relax. I said very calmly, you may not think I need it, but I think I do. So I would like you to go ahead and order it. And while you're at it, I would like you to order a DEXA scan for me. I would like you to put in a referral for my mammogram. I would like to have my fasting insulin levels tested as well. And of course, my cholesterol, my A1C, and the battery of blood work that we do every year around this time, because this is when I come to the doctor every year. He just started to get really upset. And he was like, "You don't need all these tests. Why are you asking for all of this? You're not diabetic. You don't need your fasting insulin tested." I said, I'm pre-diabetic. He was like, "You don't need it if you're pre-diabetic. You only need that if you're diabetic." I said, "So I have to wait until I'm diabetic to see my fasting insulin levels? Why is that? How is that preventive? Preventative? Why is that? You just don't need it. You don't need it. And why are you asking for a DEXA scan? What is your deal? Why are you asking for all these tests?" Now I'm sitting down, he's standing up while he's talking to me. He's turning red, he's elevating his voice. I stayed quiet. And then I finally said, "Dr. So and so, are you done?" I said, "I would appreciate it if you would order the tests and make the referrals that I asked for so I can get out of here." And he went like this to me: "No, you don't need it. You don't need it." In my face. So I just sat there like about 10 seconds. And then I said, "Doctor, don't you ever put your hand in my face or raise your voice at me, ever. Now, again, I am politely asking you to order the tests and make the referrals so that I can leave." And then he gets flustered. "I didn't put my hand in your face." I said, "Yes, you did. And don't ever do it again. And do not raise your voice at me." And then he sat down on his stool. I think he was contemplating life because I had time today. Didn't say anything. And I let him sit there for a minute. And then all of a sudden he says, "Okay, I'm putting in the referrals and I'm putting in the request for the blood work. You can get everything done here except for the mammogram. You have to go downtown." I said, "Oh, so you can do it. So you were refusing to do it because you don't think I need it. It wasn't about that you can't do it." I said, "I'm doing it." So he leaves the room to go get my paperwork that I need to take with me for my referrals. And so I know which tests have been ordered so that when I go to the lab, I know what they're going to be testing. So he comes back, he has the paperwork in his hand. He was like, "I don't know why you're so upset. Why, I don't know why you're asking for all these tests." I said, "Doctor, are you finished? If you are, please hand me my paperwork so I can leave." He looked very perplexed. This is like, he looked at me like he was very confused. And I was looking like, I mean, what do you say? What do you say? So I talked to my daughter on my way home, and she was like, "You need to file a complaint." Actually, I forgot to say this. When I went out to the front desk to switch doctors, she looked in the system and saw who my doctor was. She was like, "Ooh." I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who's complained about him, just based off of her response and her reaction. And I said, "Yeah, was the last day. I'm done." She said, "I'm so sorry that you had to deal with that. Here's a list of 3 doctors that you can choose from, and you can go into your My Chart and switch it yourself. It's not something that I have to do unless you just want to pick one right now. But there's more information about each doctor in your My Chart." So I said, "Okay, I'll go in there. I'll read the information." And I'll make the switch myself. Thank you for telling me that. She said, I'm really sorry. I can't say what I want to say, but I'm sorry. So I'm sure I'm not the only patient that he has had an issue with. He's an older doctor. I don't think he likes to be challenged. I don't think he likes it when you question, what he's suggesting or what he's strongly referring to when you ask for something. He doesn't like to be challenged. I've noticed that in about the 4 or 5 years that I've been going to him. And normally I don't push back, but today was different. And I think today was different because I have been paying attention to what and how I eat, the exercise that I do, how I feel in my body. And I've been doing research on inflammation in the body and how sugar and carbs are normally the culprit for the ailments that most people deal with. And I'm finding out now that I'm super low sugar, super low carbs, like less than 10 grams of carbs a day, if 10. I follow mostly a meat-based diet. I don't really deal with carbs or sugar. And I've noticed now that the inflammation has left my body feels better. I'm not in pain. I'm not stiff. My legs are not swollen. My feet do not hurt. My back does not hurt. I do not have migraines anymore. My eyesight is better. My gums don't bleed when I brush my teeth anymore. As a matter of fact, I just feel like something happened internally when I stopped eating carbs and sugar. And my body is starting to respond to the protein that I'm giving it. Now, the diet protocol that I'm following is called the carnivore diet protocol. Oddly enough, it was suggested by the doctor that I fired today. He suggested it to me, probably a year ago. He was like, you really need to up your protein and cut your carbs and your sugar. I think that's going to be the best way for you to lose weight. Well, at that time, I wasn't ready. I was a sugar addict. I knew it. I said it. I was addicted to certain carbs. I was a fast food connoisseur, a mac and cheese connoisseur, a birthday cake connoisseur, every kind of dessert connoisseur. I was the expert. I was eating it all. But this past August, I decided because of some issues that I was having with my health that it was time for me to make some changes. And I'd done carnivore before, had great results. It was back in 2017. Um, and so I decided to try it again after a video popped up on my YouTube feed about the carnivore diet protocol. And so I'm not going to say too much about carnivore because I have an interview coming up with Coach Rose AJ. She interviewed me on her podcast, and I'll be sharing my whole story in that interview. It's probably going to be posted on the 9th of January. So as soon as that posts, I'll let you know, and you'll hear the whole story. But I can tell that cutting sugar and carbs out of my diet has made a huge difference in my health. And so I want to continue in that vein. And I also want to see my progress, which is why I asked for the blood test that I asked for. So I said all of that to say, never be afraid to advocate for your health and never be afraid to teach somebody how to treat you and how to speak to you. I don't care who it is. You get to say what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in the way people communicate with you. And I had to do that today. And of course, as I was leaving, doctor was oh so apologetic. He just completely had an out of body experience while I was in the room with him. And then all of a sudden he wants to be apologetic. And I let him apologize. I just said, okay. And I left. And I'll never see him again. I'll never go back to him again, ever. I was done. So that's what happened with me today. And I'm very proud of myself because I didn't come out of character. Because acting a fool is not my character. But I did make sure that he knew what my boundaries are and what I will and will not accept in terms of behavior and communication. So I haven't always been able to do that, but I did it today, and I did it in a very polite, tactful way. But he got the point. Before today, he'd only met Sandy, but today he met Lysandra, and there's a difference. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. It was very interesting, but I feel good about my decision. All of the tests that I asked for initially were ordered. The referrals were made, which is all you had to do in the first place. We didn't even have to be going back and forth like that. But hey, whatever you got to do, sir. Whatever. And I'll be back to share the results of my test and my DEXA scan so that you know what we found out. I'm sure there's nothing to be worried about, but you got this stuff that you got to do when you're a woman of a certain age. You can't just be leaving it to chance. You got to go get your test done. You got to go get your mammogram. You got to get your blood work done at least twice a year, so you know where your cholesterol numbers are and your A1C and your liver function and your kidney function and all of that. All of that is really, really important. And I'm no spring chicken now. I ain't old, but I'm not 27 anymore. I'm going to be 57 in a few months. And so I'm just taking responsibility for my health and doing what I need to do to be as healthy and fit as I can be. Thoroughly enjoying my workouts at Hotworks. I absolutely love Hotworks. If you have never tried it or you don't know what that is, I would encourage you to go to hotworks.com. That's HOTWORX.com and check them out. All of the workouts that they offer are on their website. I love it. And yes, it is hot up in that room, but it's the best kind of heat. It's an infrared sauna, and you are working out in the heat. It feels so good to my bones and my body, and I just love it. I love it. So I look forward to working out now. I've never been the kind of person that likes to go to the gym. I'm not a gym rat. That's not me. And I prefer to sweat in peace. And so I can book a room and it's just me in there working out with the virtual instructor. And I'm doing the cycling right now. So I really like that I can just book a room just for me and get my workout done. And it's a HIIT workout. It's a high intensity interval training workout. So it's only 15 minutes, but it is intense. So I'm burning calories. I'm raising my heart rate. I'm moving my body. I'm eating right. I'm giving my body exactly what it needs. I can tell that my body is nourished because I don't get hungry very often. Once I eat, I'm usually done. I normally only eat once a day, sometimes twice a day, depending on what I eat at noon. And I'll talk about all of that in my interview, but I just feel really good and I want to keep that going. So I need to have a doctor that's in my corner. And pretty soon I will, because I'm going to go on my chart and pick a new doctor. So that's what happened today. Thank you all for asking. I know some of you were curious about what in the world, because y'all know I don't be bothering people. I be over here minding my business, saying my prayers, drinking my water. I don't bother nobody. But when you bother me, depending on what it is, I just have to make sure that you know. Don't do that. All right, y'all. I love you. I really do. I will see you here on January the 19th for episode 1 of season 4 of Girl Talk Sunday, the Girl Talk Sunday podcast. I can't wait. It's a new season and a new day. And the theme of this year's season is the reboot season. It's time to rise and thrive in 2025. So I'll see you back here live on YouTube and Facebook, January 19th, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And my guest is Monica Duggar. She's a brand new author of a brand new book called Consistent. I think the name of the book is, oh, what did I do with it? Oh, maybe I took it in my room. Um, I'll put a picture of the cover of the book so you can see what it is. So you can get your book so you can follow along with us during the interview because we're going to be reading excerpts of the book. I'm excited about that too. I love me some Monica Duggar, honey. She's a first time author. She is an amazing mother, sister, daughter. I love everything about her. Our pre interview was, it was just a vibe. We had a great conversation. I can't wait to bring her to the Girl Talk Sundays sofa. So I'll see you live January 19th right here on Facebook and YouTube. All right, y'all. I ain't going to bed, but I'm getting out of here. I love you. I'll see you soon. Good night.